Minecraft in the United States in one weekend made more money than Snow White has made globally after 3 weekends.
You ever wonder what happens when you mix hot lava and chicken?
Rachel Zegler didn't just face a wave of online hate. She got blindsided by a so-called Hollywood ally who decided to kick her when she was already down. And no, this wasn't some random troll lurking behind a keyboard. It was none other than Jack Black, the man everyone assumed had nothing but kindness under his belt. Turns out, he may have unleashed one of the nastiest public confrontations at the worst possible moment. Was it all an attempt to sabotage her career for good? Or did Rachel Zegler's critics overinflate a rumor, turning it into a twisted smear campaign? One thing is certain, after this showdown, nothing about the Snow White star's life stayed the same. Before her name became a lightning rod for controversy, Rachel Zegler was on a skyrocketing path to fame. She dazzled audiences in West Side Story and then snagged the coveted role of Disney's most iconic princess. For a moment, it seemed like she was set to become Hollywood royalty overnight. But right underneath that glitzy surface, the storm clouds were gathering. Snow White's production was rumored to be riddled with rewrites and tension. Fans braced themselves for a dreaded, modern spin that they feared would gut the fairy tale magic. And while the studio promised a fresh take, that promise felt shaky. Rachel found herself stuck between Disney's grand vision and a highly skeptical audience. Haters were murmuring that she was too outspoken, too unapologetic, a perfect target for the next big takedown. It started small, posts calling Rachel entitled, ungrateful, even disrespectful of Disney's legacy. But that chatter exploded when major influencers and YouTubers got hold of it. Suddenly, she became clickbait. Rachel Zegler's meltdown, Snow White fiasco, Disney's massive miscalculation. This is where Jack Black allegedly stepped into the narrative like a wrecking ball, fueling a new round of speculation. Some went so far as to liken the tension to an Amber Heard 2.0, where the court of public opinion rushes to judge based on headlines and half-truths. Rachel Zegler might have rolled her eyes at petty commentary from faceless strangers, but hearing that Jack Black, an industry veteran known for comedy and camaraderie, was privately dissing her, that's the kind of betrayal no rising star sees coming. Word on the street is, Jack Black confronted Rachel on set one day with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Insiders claim he cornered her about disrespecting fan criticisms and implied she lacked the humility Hollywood expects from its newbies. Reports vary on how explosive it got, but multiple bystanders say Rachel was visibly shaken, forced to fend off accusations that she'd belittled her own audience. Worse yet, some say Jack aired these grievances in front of staffers and extras, an audience to watch her squirm. Talk about humiliating. If Jack Black's aim was to put Rachel in her place, it sure felt like a calculated move to tarnish her name permanently. But Rachel Zegler didn't just slump off with her tail between her legs. Fueled by mounting frustration and no small amount of moral indignation, she fired back on social media. She insisted she never dismissed genuine critiques, and she called out what she dubbed bogus accusations swirling around. Her fans rallied instantly. Some pointed out the hypocrisy, a comedic star lecturing a young actress on how to handle public backlash, when he himself was no stranger to controversies in the past. In interviews, Rachel refrained from naming Jack directly, but the pointed references were impossible to miss. She vowed she wouldn't fold like a cheap tent in the face of cheap shots. It was a bold stand, and it began to turn the tide of public opinion. Social media erupted as news of this alleged bust-up spread like wildfire. Overnight, #TeamZegler hashtags popped up, with fans applauding her courage. Others bashed Jack Black for what they saw as a patronizing attack on a younger co-star. In the relentless meme factory of the internet, he was painted as the bully, and Rachel was the underdog who refused to cave. Suddenly, the meltdown rumors that dogged her for weeks started sounding more like orchestrated, pathetic Hollywood games designed to break her spirit. The popular theory? Jack's outburst was part of a smear campaign to keep the spotlight on him and paint Rachel as a naive diva. Whether he acted alone or was backed by bigger studio forces remains anyone's guess, but the damage to his image was swift and brutal. Despite the chaos, Rachel Zegler emerged from the ashes with her resolve strengthened. Think about it. She'd been hammered by online trolls, singled out by insiders, and placed at the center of a Hollywood fiasco, yet she found a way to regain her footing. Interviews highlighted her maturity under pressure, blunt, but never out of control. Her TikTok and Instagram posts radiated both confidence and vulnerability, giving fans an unfiltered glimpse of her reality. People began to see her not as the arrogant starlet the rumors portrayed, but as a performer battling double standards in an industry that loves to tear down its latest favorite. Meanwhile, Jack Black's once golden brand took a hit. Sure, he had a legion of fans from his comedic legacy, but they couldn't ignore the rumblings of a man who seemed all too eager to tear a younger colleague apart. If his plan was to overshadow her, he might have just handed Rachel a heroic storyline instead. This entire debacle serves as a cautionary tale. No matter how bright your star power might seem, Hollywood can morph into a coliseum of backstabbers and sabotage artists at the slightest whiff of controversy. Rachel Zegler weathered a storm of invasive rumors, fear-mongering about her so-called meltdown, and a showdown with Jack Black that could have decimated her career before it truly began. But she turned the tables, shining a harsh light on the twisted tactics used against her. With a dedicated fandom and rising public sympathy, she's proven that relentless sincerity and a willingness to call out nonsense can be more devastating than any behind-the-scenes takedown scheme. If there's one lesson big league Hollywood players should learn, it's that audiences aren't so easily hoodwinked anymore. One wrong move, one condescending lecture, or one underhanded smear campaign, and the internet will lay it all bare for the world to judge. As for Rachel, she's living proof that real talent and unbreakable resolve can triumph over even the most malicious attempts to bury a career. So, to anyone out there itching to orchestrate the next big ambush, be warned. Sometimes all you do is hand your target the perfect stage to show what they're really made of.